Hello, thank you for joining us on our most exciting day of the year. Today, we are celebrating the winners of the Best in KLAS 2022 awards. Today, with me, I have our KLAS, the president of KLAS, Taylor Davis. Taylor, thanks for joining me today.
Oh my gosh, this is our favorite day of the year. It's great to be here. Thanks,
we are
Jared.
excited. We are very excited. We are here to highlight some of the new things that are coming out in this new report. And so I'm going to be interviewing Taylor a little bit here, asking him some tough questions. We'll try and stump him a little bit here if we can. That's a hard thing to do. But Taylor, if you could just maybe talk about some of the new things we've seen, maybe start with some of the recognitions we're giving out for this year's report.
Absolutely. So I think the place where we have to start is the vendors who have improved the most this year. There's nothing that makes us more excited, right? Mm-hmm. So as we look at that group, we measure almost 1,000 different products and services. Two stood out as really having huge improvements in customer satisfaction this year. So let's talk about both of those. We have Infor in the ERP market who has made incredible strides, and we've been so excited. You've been here for over 20 years. I've been here for 15 years. We've spent a lot of years calling and talking to healthcare executives about their ERP solutions. And today's ERP market is completely different than it was several years ago, right? We are so grateful for the efforts as vendors have improved their delivery. We're thankful for some disruptive efforts in that market. And as you go talk to Infor customers today, it is a very different story than it was a year ago. More responsive, clear vision in terms of where they're going. The new cloud product is working a lot better, a lot more stable. And there's just a lot more positivity in that customer base. And frankly, among all vendors in that market segment, we're seeing a lot of success. So ERP has gone from literally about 10 years being the lowest rated market segment that we watched to now it's above average. And it's so exciting to be able to see Infor improve in that way.
Yeah, it's fun to be able to see that, just like you said, the disruption that's happened in that market. And now, years ago, like you said, we were talking about, man, it's difficult to give a Best in KLAS award in this space because of the low performance. And now it's like, oh, we're so excited to see the improvement and recognize the vendors in this space.
And you'll remember several years ago, we had a big meeting as a leadership team. Can we give out an ERP Best in KLAS award? Because even the best player was so mediocre. Mm-hmm. And today we have 3 players that are starting to deliver or have consistently delivered very well for their customers. So very exciting to see. The other vendor that we want to recognize is Greenway. Greenway has had a very up and down journey over the years as we've watched them. So if you go all the way back to T. Green and some of their original leadership and their founding leadership, they delivered very well for customers. Mm-hmm. And then you saw a period where there were some ownership changes. There was a lot of leadership changes. They went through several executive teams in less than 2 years at one point. And customers felt very disconnected from them, very, very low satisfaction. Now we're seeing them really jump a lot. This last year has had a new leadership team. They've come on site with a bunch of customers, which is extremely hard to do, especially with COVID, right? So I can't even imagine how hard their travel has been. And where they're going, how they're responding to customers, really resonating. Greenway still has some progress to make in terms to be a top tier deliverer, but it's been so exciting to hear from their customers such optimism and enthusiasm for where they're going. So congratulations to that leadership team and that whole team for really elevating the experience for their customers.
Yeah, that's been great to see. So many of you know that we give overall winners for Best in KLAS, and we're going to talk about a couple of them here today. We've done a couple of things a little bit different in the services world. So let's talk about Epic, winning again the overall award, and then talk a little about the changes we've done with the overall winners in the services world.
Absolutely. So no surprise that Epic won the overall software suite. This is something that is well known in the industry, that Epic is a very high performer, has a very broad suite. They continue to do very well. 14 Best in KLAS awards this year, so congratulations to their team. If anybody thinks that this is something that just happens every year, talk to any Best in KLAS vendor and they will tell you that winning Best in KLAS over and over again is a lot of work. So being able to do this over and over again over a lot of years shows a real discipline and continued focus on their part. And we cheer that, especially given how many patients today are using Epic or have their health data in an Epic system. Mm-hmm. We need them and other large enterprise vendors to be excellent, and so we cheer as we see excellence reported by their customers. In the services space, we have some differences. We've split up the services overall award into 3 different awards. We have an implementation leader award, we have an overall services award, and we have a management consulting award. We are so excited to announce that Galen Health is the implementation leader, and they'll receive that overall best in class award. Nordic will be the overall services leader, and really excited. That includes areas of advisory and a very, very broad set of areas overall. And then as we look at management consulting, Chartis is the leader in management consulting, which is fun for us to be able to recognize them. Management consulting space, there's some big names in that space. And some of those big names may come and question us and say, hey, is Chartis really the leader in management consulting in this space? But when you go talk to their customers, and they have some very sizable customers who have done some very large projects with them, they will say they are a step above the rest, and we have seen some great things from them. So it's really exciting to be able to identify somebody that not everybody thinks of as a management consulting leader, as the leader in management consulting.
Yes. So congratulations to Epic and to Chartis, Nordic, and Galen for their great performances this last year. Now, one of the things we wanted to talk about, something, Taylor, we introduced last year was our cybersecurity transparency measure with our partnership with Sensinet. And we included that data again this year. Talk a little bit about what that is to remind our viewers and how we're combining that with our data.
KLAS is not the experts at being able to identify which firms are prepared for cybersecurity. However, we are passionate about creating transparency and helping organizations to know. So at first, for a number of years, we would go to healthcare executives and we would say, how prepared is this firm with their cybersecurity transparency? And you and I both know that the responses there were, could you please tell me? I'm their customer, but I really don't know how prepared they are. If they've just recently had a major breach, then I could tell you that they obviously were not prepared enough. And so as we looked at this, we realized that the organizations who know how prepared vendors are for cybersecurity transparency are the vendors, and we need to ask them. However, that information is sensitive information. So we needed a place where they could report on that sensitive information. We needed an expert who could look over that reporting in a very secure way and then be able to report out to the market and say, here are the vendors who are ready. In order to do this, we partnered with Sensinet, and what we're especially proud of this year is that there is no cost for any vendor, whether you're a member, whether you're not a member with KLAS, whether you subscribe to our research or not, there is no cost for any vendor to go and answer questionnaires that will be secure with Sensinet and to report your preparations when it comes to cybersecurity preparedness. And that allows the industry to know that you are a prepared firm. This last year, we only had 10% of firms take us up on that, even though there's no cost to it at all. And it's been interesting as I've talked to a number of senior healthcare executives. I spoke to a CIO the other day, and I said, so tell me what your opinion is. We've only had 10% of firms who have taken us up and done this. He said, my experience would tell me that there's only probably about 20% of firms who really are where they need to be and are willing to have a spotlight shined on them. So the low percentage may be just another indicator that we have a long ways to go when it comes to cybersecurity preparedness in healthcare. And we encourage and will continue to shine a spotlight on this in effort to help the industry rise and for us to be more prepared. If you would like to have an absolutely heart-rending conversation, go talk to a healthcare executive about a ransomware attack that they've had. Go talk to them about the pain of telling patients that they can't come in for their chemotherapy treatment because their regimens were in the EHR or in the oncology system that is now part of the ransomware attack. So you talk about something that just creates incredible pain in healthcare where things need to go smoothly because there's so many challenges even when things go smoothly. Cybersecurity preparedness is critical, and KLAS is dedicated to shining a spotlight on how this is progressing.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons why we have that cybersecurity transparency shield, if you will, in our data right next to the overall scores and the grades. So we feel like it's that important.
Exactly.
Okay. So last year we added a bunch of new market segments, right? So we added 26 new market segments last year. This year we added only a couple, right? So we added, ERP, business transformation and implementation leadership categories. And one might say, okay, what's going on, right? Is there not energy going on? Can you share with us some of the things that we are doing, maybe in lieu of adding more market segments? Although we added those 26, we've kept those healthy, and now we have 2. What else is happening that our folks might find of interest?
It's interesting. There is a weight, there is a time, there's an investment that we're so grateful for from healthcare executives every time that we go to measure something new. And we have to be really sensitive in terms of what we do, because we're asking our friends to take time and to give feedback about their vendors. This last year was not the year to expand in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. It was a complicated year. Healthcare has been stressed. So we purposefully have tried to increase some of the services that we're offering in other ways. And really our expansion was mostly in some of the ERP services area. That's a very hot market right now, and we wanted to make sure that we were very accurately shining a lot of light on that. At the same time, we've been trying to spend a lot more time and effort looking and measuring up and coming firms. And so we have our emerging technologies research, and it's been such a fun area to be, one of the funnest areas in our company to be in, is highlighting some of these up and coming firms. Just last week, I had a CIO reach out to me and say, hey, do you know the company Avasure? And I said, oh, I don't think that we know Avasure. Quickly looked, oh, yes, we do. And we had just recently done a spotlight on them. And that's a market segment that we don't watch as a regular market segment for telesitting, but an important place to be able to know now that CIO has a perspective of a half dozen to a dozen customers and what was their experience with Avasure. So we have done of these spotlights or first look reports in these new up and coming technologies, we've done over 150 of these in the last 2.5 years. And we're even getting to the point now where we have some healthcare executives saying, KLAS, you've done so many of these, it's hard to sort through and to really be able to identify the diamonds in the rough. And so we're actually even gathering together a group of healthcare executives who are going to be helping us with that, reading through all of the research that we've done and identifying to other healthcare executives to say, hey, here's some of the diamonds in the rough in these emerging technology solutions. There's a lot of investment coming into healthcare today. There's a lot of new innovation and new solutions coming out there. And we are dedicated to being on the front end of creating transparency from new firms all the way to established firms.
Yeah.
So a very exciting area for us to be working in. And a few other things that we're doing that are also very exciting for us is that we have a few new research lines. So if you know KLAS well, you know that we do our standard, everything that falls under best in class. We also have the KLAS Arch Collaborative, whose mission is to make the EHR a joy to utilize. And it has been so exciting as we have now measured at over 250 healthcare organizations, measured their EHR experience. We've done repeat measurements on over 60 organizations, and we've seen that a majority of those organizations are seeing significant and substantive improvements. So we're dedicated to continuing there. KLAS has 2 new areas that we're going to research that we're launching this year. One of those areas is our implementation transparency research, where we're going to be helping provider organizations measure the effectiveness of their implementation. How on track is it all the way through? And so that's something that we're very excited about. We're planning on starting in the ERP space, as those are big, complex, hairy implementations, and there's a lot of them right now. We are also partnering with a lot of health systems and payers to begin a measurement in payer-provider cooperation. And so we're getting quantitative and qualitative feedback from health systems and large ambulatory groups about the experiences that they're having with their payers, denials rate, partnership levels, and what are we seeing. This is going to help create transparency both into where payers can improve, also into places where a provider organization maybe is not as clean as they need to be. We're going to be able to have insights into both of those as we work to improve that critical partnership that so often is at loggerheads with each other. Mm-hmm. So a few new areas that we're working on this year that we're extremely excited about.
Those are exciting new things, and hopefully makes up for a little bit of, hey, we're not adding too many market segments, but there is a lot of energy going on.
There is, and it has never been more exciting to be here at KLAS with the opportunities that we have. We believe that when it comes to high-risk, high-stakes partnerships, that transparency is critical. And there's a lot of those high-risk, high-stakes partnerships in the healthcare IT space, but there's a lot of other places in healthcare where we can improve with more transparency.
Yeah, great. And I think one of the important things, Taylor, today on this super exciting, important day for us, we would be remiss if we didn't say a huge thank you to our healthcare provider friends.
Absolutely.
Who, over the past couple of years, especially with the pandemic, have been super willing to get on the phone with us, have great conversations, share with us their experiences. And even through tough times, they've been able to, and willing to take the time and have conversations when they've been so just buried with just trying to take care of people. So, I mean, huge appreciation for that willingness and that effort.
And you know what? We actually have a new offering this year to help our provider friends. So for healthcare executives, if you're willing to get on the phone with us every 6 months, if you're willing just to pre-schedule your next interview with us, and so many people do that, we are now making it available for you so that you can reach out to us at any time. And within a few days, have one of our 40 plus experts on the phone as you need it. So just had this last week, had a lot of conversations last week, a CIO who reached out who said, hey, we're looking at making a decision in the imaging space. Can you please give us some information about these markets? Well, absolutely. Monique Rasban is our expert over all things imaging. Let's get her on the phone with you right away and have her help walk you through some of the insights that we have there. So that's an opportunity that's open for all healthcare executives. If you're willing to continue to be abundant as you have been for so many years, we're trying to be even more abundant with you this next year, and we'll make our experts available at no cost.
That's great. I think one of the things we want to just do is, as we end today, Taylor, thanks for taking some time. Encourage you to go online, go to the KLAS website, KLASresearch.com, check out all the best-in-class rankings, see who finished first in all the different areas. We covered, over 130 different market segments this year.
Oh, it's incredible, yes.
So there's a lot of data. Please go check it out and learn more about who won Best in Class. Taylor, thanks again for taking some time today.
That's great. Exciting day, and congratulations to all of the vendors and their teams who have worked so hard to improve healthcare and make this excellence possible.